What's up, guys? Coach Cam back again with another video. Here is back and neck day. So started off with chin-ups and I'm up to 10 pounds added. I improved by an entire rep, even though I had not trained this exercise in 3 weeks or 20 days, almost 3 weeks. So that's kind of my frequency right now of when I actually hit exercise. So even though it sounds like, oh, it's been 20 days since that muscle got touched at all, that's really not true, because my back is involved somewhat in doing deadlifts, somewhat in doing a little bit of squats. You'd be surprised, putting the bar on your back. I can feel different parts of my back like sore the next day. So obviously those aren't optimal, but just goes to show that frequency is not even all that's required when your intensity is high. When your intensity, meaning your effort, is maximal, is extremely intense, the frequency and volume drops so low that it's unbelievable, actually. So this had actually been 6 days since my last arm day on YouTube that you'll find. So, I generally train about every 4th day, but this time I just wasn't feeling good enough yet, and I was getting busy. Things were coming in the way. Finally, around the 6th day, came through, made a big PR on this by 1 whole rep. So I'm going to be adding weight to my chin-ups next time. Super pumped with that. Next here is body rows. Obviously, my last back day was at a park outside, so it's kind of hard to track progress when the setup changes completely. So, at the end of the day, taking the muscle to failure is all I can do for sure. But I do take notes as to what handle I use, what height is this bar, and then what's around my feet to help my foot placement. That way I can replicate it here in my garage gym and make it harder when I need to. Once again, each of these exercises, one set all out. When you stimulate muscles, you go through Henneman's size principle, which is starting with the weakest, smallest, easiest muscle fibers at the very beginning of a set, because it's not hard yet, right? Well, as you continue the exercise, continue contracting your muscles in any way, shape, or form, as it continues, you have to recruit more and more bigger muscle fibers and motor units to help you get the job done, because the smaller ones are now too fatigued to continue. You go through this process entirely one time. There is no need to do it again, especially if you did your best, if you picked the right weight, the exercise was, optimal for you. If it's not, you could do a second set or a drop set, something like that. But ideally, the goal is to get this most stimulus possible in as little exercise as possible. So here's neck curls. This is a 5-pound plate, and I just use really slow and controlled form. I find when I was using a 10-pound plate, the set was a little bit short, and it felt too difficult to continue it because of the weight kind of hitting a sticking point. Whereas now I really feel like I'm crossing through to failure, really. So that's the goal. There's no good reason to stop short and do it over and over again. A lot of people, when it comes to lifting, they just get it in their heads when you just go to start working out, right? You know what to do. You know what everyone else already does. You know it's 3 or 4 sets. You know it's 8 to 12 reps, or if it's strength, then it's 5 or less or whatever. You know that it's kind of those ballpark numbers. And honestly, a lot of that just stems from Arnold and what Arnold did back in the day. It stems from these certifying bodies, the NSCA, the ACSM, NASM, and what they believe. And a lot of it is not actually backed up by research, which you would be very surprised to find that out. Certain studies end up finding that, but a lot of them, they barely find it, or they just play into the parameters that they already believe, right? The belief that you need multiple sets, the belief that more sets gets you more growth. And that's only true if your first set sucks. If your first set sucks at getting your muscles to failure, the first set sucks at getting the maximum stimulus, then doing more sets would get you a little bit more. It would now be way less efficient because now your workouts will take much longer. So if you can get it right the first time, that's best case scenario. And remember, there is hardly any research on this, on actually training this way, right? Taking your muscles to true momentary muscle failure, meaning you cannot move the weight in a positive direction any longer. You're using a moderate load, not using, 70, 80% of your 1 rep max. That's powerlifting numbers. This is not powerlifting, this is exercising. Powerlifting, though it may give you an exercise-like side effect, it is not exercise by definition. The focus of powerlifting is on the exercise or the weight you're using and moving that weight, whereas exercise, the focus is on your body and contracting your muscles, because at the end of the day, that is what gives you results. It really doesn't matter what the exercise is, as long as you contract your muscles as hard as possible, you can get really good results. So once again, I'm training extremely infrequently. There's the numbers there on the right. Made some good progress. Looking forward to the next workout. If you have any questions, leave them down below. Like, comment, share this video with somebody that still believes the dogma that we're being fed through NSCA and NASM and ACSM, that, oh, you have to train a muscle 3 times a week, 2 times a week. You got to do 10 to 20 sets. 10 to 20 sets if your sets suck. Try training like this. I promise you, you're not doing more than 1 or 2.